Horrocks, thank you very much.
7 minutes to 9. More and more people are using what's called online health services, GP consultations, prescriptions through independent websites and apps, that sort of thing. Well, now we're told by England's Care Quality Commission that more than 40% of them are not providing safe healthcare. Well, Steve Field is the Chief Inspector of General Practice at the Care Quality Commission. He's with me. So is Ali Parsa, Chief Executive of Babylon, which provides online appointments with doctors. Not providing safe services in what, safe care in what sense, Mr. Field?
Well, we found that when we first started looking at these providers, that some of the providers had difficulties because the way they were set up, there was a danger of over-prescribing antibiotics or not following up people with long-term conditions by making sure they have their blood tests, danger of over-prescribing opiate medication like codeine-type drugs. But actually, most of these providers have improved since we've been in to inspect them, and I believe that online consulting by video or by form actually is going to become mainstream. We've just got to make sure that all of the providers provide safe and effective care.
So you're saying there's no problems?
No, we said there are potential problems, and in fact 5 of the providers gave up their registration after we had been in and inspected. So if we find something very serious, we will take immediate action without any fear or favour. But the encouraging thing is the providers that are there in the marketplace, as it is at the moment, are improving on the whole, and we will go back and re-inspect and back and re-inspect if they don't.
So how would we know if I wanted an online appointment with a GP? How would I know whether that service was going to be safe?
Well, I think, first of all, you look to make sure that they're registered with the Care Quality Commission, because there is an issue as well about services that are not based in England. So in England, a service based in England for English patients will have to be registered with us. There is a report on each of the providers that is published on our website. And then the re-inspection reports are also...
So if they're not registered with you, don't use them?
Don't use them at all.
Right.
Well clear, and tell us, actually, because we'd like to know if there are services unregistered that are trying to...
Right, but if they're registered, they're safe?
If they're registered, they should be safe, because those that we've inspected, even if we've raised concerns, have assured us that they are addressing those
as safe as going to a GP in the surgery.
And we treat them exactly the same as going into a face-to-face. The disruption is not about how you see the GP, whether it's by video or face-to-face. There are more issues about contracting and things which we don't get involved in.
All right, Mr. Parsa, do you accept that? I take it that you're registered, by the way?
We absolutely are. Actually, Care Quality Commission passed this with flying colours.
Right. So you would agree, would you, with what Mr. Field was saying, that there are those who should not be practising?
I agree with Steve, and I think Steve says something more profound, and the report says something more profound. You're looking at the negative part of the report. But actually, if you read the report, what the report is trying to do, and CQC is trying to do, and NHS is trying to do, is put Britain at the forefront of accessibility and the provision of digital health.
Yeah, but it's got to be safe. I mean, that is the first priority, isn't it?
Absolutely. But the great news in here is not only that vast majority of providers are safe, but in Britain today, if you live, for instance, in central London, you can sign up with NHS GP at hand, and instead of waiting a week or two to see your GP, you can see it within 2 hours.
At a price?
No, free on NHS. And that's the beauty of what NHS is doing. So if you join, for instance, this service, our service, GP at hand, Babylon, you can see a patient within 2 hours, a doctor within 2 hours on NHS, 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year.
Do you have to be computer savvy to do it?
Absolutely not. Vast majority of people can use an app or a computer. Now,
well, you've got to be a bit...
Yes,
I can think of plenty of...
No service in the world is available for everybody. You know that, John. When radio came, it took about 20 years for everybody to be able to access it. It didn't mean radio was a bad thing, and there will be people in our society who won't, but vast majority do. Look, this service I just told you, 1 person every 2 minutes is joining GP at hand to get this service. NHS and our regulators should be congratulated for making Britain at the forefront of provision of digital health. For once, we are ahead of everybody else, and we should celebrate.
And just a sentence from you, if you would, Mr. Field. Do you agree with that?
I believe this will become mainstream across the whole of the NHS in time. We need to make sure that it's safe and effective as that service is developing and then ongoing.
Thank you both very much, Steve Field and Ali Parsa. Thank you.
It's a couple of minutes to 9. A new museum opens in Bristol today.